Hey, Dan Denley here from GuitarZoom.com. And in this video, what I'd like to teach you is a kind of an atypical 12-bar blues. Most people kind of, intermediate guitarists at least know the kind of standard 12-bar blues. And this is going to be an atypical 12-bar blues in that it's going to use what we call a quick turn 4-chord. So we're going to jump over to the 4-chord a little bit faster than you normally would in a 12-bar blues. And we're going to use a couple of interesting chords. We're going to use a 13th, okay, which is a little bit jazzed out. And then we're going to use the dominant ninth, and we're going to use an altered dominant chord, which is a sharp 7, sharp, it's an F7, so it's a dominant 7th chord with a sharp 9 and a sharp 5, and that sharp 5 is what makes it an altered dominant. So 3 different kinds of chords, a 13th, a 9th, and then an altered dominant, okay? And they're actually, the chords are going to be the C13, okay? And this is a lot like a regular old C dominant chord. Just check this out, right? It sounds a lot like this, but we're just adding some extra notes. But you still have that, okay, here's C7, right, without all the other notes. And here's the C13. Okay. Now, what's cool about that is it's just a kind of a variation of a regular old blues. This is more like a jazzed out blues and a quick turn blues, and it has this altered dominant thing. So it sounds more complicated than it really is. In fact, let me play along with the jam track for you just to kind of get it in your ears, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about exactly what chords I'm using and why. Okay, so you can tell that's kind of jazzy, right? You just kind of this Okay, so let's talk about the chords. Well, in a standard 12-bar blues, the 1 chord, in this case the C13, because we're in the key of C, is going to actually be for the first 4 bars. Well, what it would normally sound like would be this. Right, that's the first 4 bars. But instead, it jumps over to this old F9 chord right off the bat. So you only have 1 measure of the 1 chord, then 1 measure of the 4 chord, and back to 1. So what it sounds like this. So that's what we call a quick turn blues. So you jump over to the 4 chord before you actually, before you would generally, in a standard 12-bar blues, before you would do that. So in other words, the standard 12-bar blues, you have 4 bars or 4 measures of the 1 chord. In a quick turn blues, you have a 1 bar of 1, 1 bar of 4, and 2 bars of 1. Okay. Now, the second cool chord in this is this old F9 chord. Okay, now this is a lot like an F7. Okay. Of course, you can play F7 like this. All right, well, we're going to play it up here, right? Well, right now, if I just play those 3 notes, that's going to be an F9, an F7. Then if I add this note, it's going to be an F9. And if you want, you can flatten out your pinky and grab this top note as well. Okay. It's not necessary for it still to be an F9 chord. Now, that's going to be our 4 chord. So, the first few measures is bum, F9. Back to your F9. Then it goes, okay, what chord is that? That's that altered dominant I was telling you about. So you got this F9 chord. Then to make it an altered dominant, all I'm going to do is I'm going to raise that ninth here a half step, which means one fret up, flatten out my pinky and grab this top note, and now it's an F7 sharp 9 sharp 5. Big fancy chord, but this is the way, big fancy name for a simple chord. Okay, if you can't flatten out your pinky, don't worry about it. You can still just play it like this. Then it'll just be an F7 sharp 9. But if you want to add that note, flatten it out, and you can grab it like this. And then it's going to go back to that C. So what happens is, you have this, when you go to the 4 chord, you have this. So you have that sound of, right, that G, that kind of sound. Okay, that's what makes it kind of gives it that leading tone. And then your G9 is going to look exactly like that F9. And then just goes down, and then back to C13. Then we go back for the turnaround at the very end, go back to this G9 chord. I changed it and made it an a G7 sharp 9 sharp 5. So it's exactly the same as the F7 sharp 9 sharp 5. We just move it up a fret. Okay? So C13, F9, F7 sharp 9 sharp 5, C13. Then G9, F9, C13, and then it ends on the G9 and then G7 sharp 9 sharp 5. Let me play it for you one more time, and then I'm going to give you the tab and the jam track. That's good. So if you'd like to learn more about this, you'd like to get the tab and the jam track, just check out the link in this video, and you can go and download the jam track and the tab for this and learn these kind of funky 13ths and 9ths and altered dominant chords. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dan Denley from GuitarZoom.com.